Hello? Oh, hi.
You're live.
It's okay. Hi, my name's Nnena Nkongho. I'm here. I work for Solophone, but I'm also an advisor to a few startups here and active in the ecosystem here in Lagos. I guess just to start off, you know, I wanted to comment on Crib Park and refer to the fireside chat that Fernando made about laser focus. It's great to see a company that is fulfilling a need with a content-led strategy and to really sort of be a source of trust and authority around real estate and around housing in Nigeria. I think I was a little confused as to whether it was, you know, whether we were selling, not only selling goods, but also selling design services and sort of how we're developing that multi-sided market. And I think also there was a side mention of sort of a credit-based purchasing system, which is good, but it introduces a whole different level of risk. And I'm wondering whether we have the capacity to assess credit around that business.
Okay. Ivan Lumala. I'm with Microsoft for Africa. So Fernando, who was here earlier, is my manager. I work with startups, smaller businesses as well, and the focus really is on helping them build that solution and then thereafter help them bring it to market. So this is great. I really liked the Crib Park from a standpoint of they actually thought of how those people can come back. So speaking to that, whether it's the credit or the loyalty program that allows people to come back, I liked that. There was a little bit of a question on my part around how unique is this? There are quite a few organizations that are trying to do this. So the element in there that makes them unique is what I look for. So overall, I think I liked it, but I would have to understand more why people would come for the first time. I can understand how they might stay with that loyalty program, but why would they move away from their regular marketing places to come here?
Oh, excellent. The one that struck it for me was traffic bites, for one simple reason. There are some guys out of Israel called Waze that got bought out for a cool $1 billion. And you see that space is practically wide open in Africa. And being a techie, let me just ask a question. How many of you have Waze installed on their mobile phones? Not you, Neil, you don't count. But clearly, no one in the room. So this guy has bought a company for $1 billion with no customers in Africa. I'm a techie, and I don't use it because it still requires two hands to operate. So there's still the inherent risk of being a problem on the road. Or, you know, traffic cameras or or there are cops on the road. I still have to actively engage it. But now here's a solution that allows you to use big data and just to mine that. And I've seen it's patent pending. So if you deploy it even in a market like Nigeria, I mean, for me, that sounds like a very, very, very interesting proposition. I don't know what you have to say about that.
I agree.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so traffic is one of those things that are uniquely local.
Yes.
So the fact that they are thinking about a local problem and proposing a local solution does make sense. There are, of course, always a few challenges. The first is, let's not talk about Nigeria, Lagos, but I'll take an example of a place that I'm very familiar with, Nairobi. So we have a traffic problem, like most other parts of Africa. And the question becomes, what is the uniqueness of this solution? What information is it going to give me that most of the other drivers, even without that solution, won't have? Because the issue is not so much that people don't know how to get around. The issue is the roads are crowded, constantly crowded. There are just not enough roads. There are many more cars. So yes, it can help at certain times, but it's one of those things that maybe we'll grow to appreciate. But in many of the big cities around Africa, the issues are infrastructure.
I might differ a bit on that. I don't think we have a traffic problem. The problem is not with the cars. it's the people in the cars. So it's a human problem. So for me, it would be more, how do we use that data to drive different behavior? Because if you find a way to incentivize good behavior, like coming here, we're caught in traffic simply because no one wanted to give way at the toll. So we're not dealing with, it's not a car. We're dealing with human issues.
Yes.
So as soon as you can get enough data to give a big stick or sweet candy, if you're a good driver, we give you candy. If you're a nasty driver, you get a big stick. Then I think that's where the opportunity lies. And of course, there are all these other services that you could build on that. You know, there's telemetry, which is a $1 billion business in other markets. Let's talk into the issue of hardware. We've seen SciSci with the hardware device. We've seen Nerve trying to build an entire ecosystem. Probably even, you know, think if you're doing your own device, your own ecosystem. You know, Microsoft and Nokia, you know, have your device, then you have your OV store, and then you've got all these other attendant things. They're trying to do something similar. The challenge with building hardware solutions in Africa, I feel, is one. Bringing stuff in and the sort of cost to even get it to prototype level. So that, for me, would be the challenge for teams like that, but I don't know what opinion you have.
I wanted to say that I thought the energy of the Nerve presentation's great. Look, I work for a competitor, so I'm not going to say much, but clearly we think there's something there. But with respect to SciSci, I mean, you know, it's an ad business. You know, there is hardware, but you know, the revenue model is an advertising-based one. And I think, you know, it's 1 month. You know, they said, what, 25 ads, 90,000 interactions, and 30% conversion rates. I think I'd be interested in learning a little bit more about that and learning and watching a little bit more history develop to try and understand, can this really be supported, and think of it that. I think no one has any objection to free Wi-Fi. I did have a few questions on how the technology worked in terms of peering, but I think, you know, in principle, you know, ubiquitous Wi-Fi, more ubiquitous Wi-Fi is a good thing. I think everyone would agree to that. And I think then it's about, you know, whether we really have a business on the back of that.
Okay. Rob, let me reframe your question. As CTO at the For Africa initiative, how would you help ease that challenge of probably getting people to build own devices here, as opposed to, or making it easier for them to build prototypes and their devices within Africa? And essentially, you know, there's a long tail of value addition from creation of locking down the IP, creating jobs and the like. Yeah.
So the reality of it is that there is a lot of value in having an ecosystem where people can actually innovate around technology, around hardware. There's a lot of great things that come out of when people start kind of working with the hardware at that level. The skill set grow. The real fundamental challenge is what we are talking about here, is how can an environment, an ecosystem support that? It's a major capital investment on one hand, and then there's always a chance that somebody can come in with something that's cheaper and actually do some provide similar functionality. I think to kind of address your specific question, what can be done? My view is that you probably are better off not innovating at that core level, but taking a technology that somehow works and customize it. The challenge is, if you go from A to Z, the effort, the money, the experience, the skill set that's required to make that work right, that investment is a lot. Whereas there might be something out there that you can bring in and customize and optimize. I feel like that's a good starting point, and then you go from there to lower once things start moving.
Excellent. Nnena, closing thoughts. You're invested in a couple of startups. I know you probably won't comment on the ones who are competing with you, but what would be your parting shots to them and any other general advice?
No parting shots. We're one big community, right? One love. I think in terms of all the startups, look, there's obviously a lot of energy and dedication that's gone into bringing your businesses to where they are to present. But I think, you know, thinking about the near-term milestones is very important, but also expanding, having the vision and a real plan to get to scalable businesses, multi-country businesses et al. Is also really important for us to sort of, quote unquote, build the ecosystem, but really build profitable businesses that lift everybody up.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to say where I would put my money. I mean, somebody said correctly that you invest in an entrepreneur, not an idea. So 6 minutes, it's enough to get me excited about an idea, but it's not enough for me to know, are these guys actually able to execute? So that's the next layer. I would have to spend some time, a little bit more time with them. In terms of the things that excite me, I kind of like, I like Crip Park because of what that is capable of doing for a small and medium enterprise. Lots of our people sell stuff. If we can do things to allow them to sell more, to sell better, I like. I also like Sai. I mean, that presentation was wonderful. So from a very high level, I like most of them. I would have to kind of focus a little bit more and see who is helping the small guy that drives our economy to do better.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for my panel.